भस्माङ्गरागाय महेश्वराय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगम्बराय तस्मै नकाराय नमः शिवाय।
Is there any mention of what's happening in Mansarovar, in Kailash? Say, there's been I think I mentioned 2-3 times, there's been a whole lot of things happening in my system which I'm not able to logically decipher yet. It takes a certain amount of looking at it in different ways. But I know one thing, that these two things are very deeply connected. That's very clear to me this time. How, why, what? No, we don't have the answers yet. So could it be possible that what's happening in Mansarovar, the detail of what's happening there is told in Kailash? I don't want to say yes or no at this point. But I would say, by conjecture, just guesswork, I would say no. No, at the same time, the fundamentals of what is Kailash could have been set up by that which is happening in Mansarovar. It may not be like there is no analogy which will make any sense, but it may not be in terms of information, it may be the very fundamentals may be very directly connected. That's what it seems like. Within me it is almost a certainty now that the yogi that we refer to as Shiva did not spring from this planet. Everything suggests that he did not. Did he bring Kailash with him? Or did Kailash arise? For some reason, geologically it's different from everything around, which is clearly visible even for an untrained eye. It is simply visible that geologically it's different from everything around. Did this peak come from the base of the earth? For some reason it rose like that. As the Kashmiri Shaivism legends say that Shiva worshipped Parvati's breast and it grew. Or did it land from somewhere else? It's a questionable thing, but I'm not able to articulate this. But there are so many aspects which has been within me always, because I come from this tradition where nothing happens without Shiva. Always we go back to the source. We don't trust anything in between, including ourselves. This is how I have always lived. I don't trust anything, including myself. We always go to the original source. So, if you look at that original source, There are many aspects to it which is very difficult to articulate at this point. It clearly suggests that I can't believe how I overlooked this all these years of my association with it, that it just doesn't belong here. There are, in the evolutionary theory of modern living sciences, there are many missing links which are glossed over, which have been glossed over and trying to just explain them away. There's so many things which can be questioned, for which they don't have answers. I think all of it could be answered if we look at this dimension of an external influence which is beyond our own capabilities, and an external influence which is of a far larger possibility than who we are right now. All of it could be just fine if that one thing is confirmed. If that one thing is confirmed, that there has been an external influence, then all the missing links can be easily linked, because now it need not go in a logical progression, because there is an influence beyond your understanding, beyond your capability, which is 100% clear to us with the Mansarovar. There is an influence beyond what we think as life, what we know as life.
Prabhum prananatam vibhum vishwanatam Jagannatanatam sadananda
And Kailash has not happened without that influence. That influence is very much there, no question about it.
Bhavatvaya bhuteswaram bhutanatam Shivam Shankaram
Absolutely there. There's simply no doubt about that. But the ways of the beings at Mansarovar is returning to Kailash? Not necessarily. I think they have maintained their… for these millions of years they have managed to stay, be there and be active and still stay away from human perception in general sense. Many people have perceived, they've talked about it, people have talked about lights, people have talked about, all kinds of beings having bath in Mansarovar. There's a whole lot of legends which have flowed, but still it stayed out of normal human perception. So when they're capable of keeping themselves so private, so openly public but still private, if they can keep themselves like that, I don't think they will write their ways and keep it there for you to… You just have to know their ways. So when I was… I don't know if I should even talk about these things. I think I already mentioned. These things were just going on, and I thought… last time also I told people, I need to come and spend a few days at Mansarovar to understand what's happening. We could make experiments. Last time we tried something and it really amazed everybody what happened there. This time also we set up a few people, which for those few people who were set up there, it was very obvious that something was happening, something beyond themselves was entering their body and making things happen in the system. But because those 8 days or 2 weeks or whatever didn't happen, in a moment of wanting to do something, I thought, let me try this upon my own system, because it's always safer to try another person because he's under observation and easily you can handle that. So I took it into my own system, and these beings, the strange thing about these beings is they are in bunches. They're individual, but they're still in bunches. They are moving by tendencies, but they're still conscious. Somehow it is, you cannot differentiate whether they are conscious or unconscious. They're just moving by tendencies, because when you set up an invitation, it's not a choice, they're just being drawn to it. At the same time, they're conscious enough that they don't want to be there. If you try to trap them, they don't want to be there. So from these bunches of beings, which is very… it's crazy, because here we always know beings as individuals. As we know life, we know beings as individual beings, never as bunches. These are bunches of beings. This is not our way of looking at life. This is not our way of knowing life. This is not our understanding of life. This is something else. So I separated one of them and took them into my system and I thought I'll smuggle one home. Let's see how. And he became, I don't know, he, she or it, whatever you can call it, became so restless and he wants to go. I tried to contain. I just left my lower part of the intestine or the colon, but totally burnt. Even now I'm going through that thing. It almost tore my colon. It damaged my system a little bit. Then I thought, okay, let it go. And I just let it go. So they're not conscious, at the same time they're conscious. It's contradictory to everything that we know as life, but it's very much life. It's a phenomenon that needs to be looked at. It has definitely influenced our past. If we know how, it could definitely influence our future in a big way, in a very big way. Because after these millions of years of existence on this planet, still human beings do not know how to live. Yes, we still do not know how to live. Maybe we need an external teacher, really. An external influence who would change our ways of living, our ways of being, if it can change. If you could exist here as a bunch, it would be great, you know. You're too individual. It's too early to say too much about it. It'll be too much going far. I'm not given to flights of fancy, but it's utterly logical. But things are falling into place. Not all of it, a million things have fallen into place within me, but still there is no one logical line. There's no one logical line to speak or say anything about. But this trip has put a million things in place.